You just clicked on this video at the perfect time, because did you know that for some people, retirement is even more scary than public speaking or death? But for us, that could actually be one less worry, because I'm on track to retire with over $30 million just from holding this one ETF, VOO, which is Vanguard's ETF that tracks the S&P 500. But I'm no one special, believe me. So if it can work for me, it can work for anyone. And I'll show you how it works, but it needs to be done soon. But before that, just a little bit about me and how I got there. So I'm a random average guy who grew up less than average. I grew up really poor, and I didn't do well in school K through 12. And that's not because I'm defying stereotypes because I'm a rebel, it's just because I wasn't good at school, I wasn't interested in it, and it wasn't exactly motivational when all my teachers like to just say I'm lazy and I could do better. So I didn't have many connections while growing up, I didn't have mentors, and really just not that much guidance. And even my public school system was underfunded.
Oakland's Unified School District is thinking of consolidating or closing schools because of millions of dollars in budget deficits.
With some of the lowest grades and lowest test scores and lowest math and reading proficiency in the country. So I ended up making a ton of mistakes along the way. Like how I didn't start contributing to my retirement, my 401k as early as I should have, or how I spent all my part-time money to buy a luxury car when I was young, or how I gambled away $10,000 in just one single day. And a lot of that was because I wanted to live flashy, I wanted to get rich fast, and I didn't know that much about finances. But after being burned just a few too many times, I decided to get it together, and that's how I started getting into really properly building wealth. And it all started with the S&P 500. Now the S&P 500 is comprised of 500 of the largest publicly traded companies in the United States. You can count companies like Apple, Microsoft, Tesla, the FANG companies, and many more. And overall, it's actually a pretty good gauge of how the overall stock market is doing. Some years its return is less, some years it's more, but since when it was first created to today, it's been averaging about a 10% return every single year. And if you know anything about compound interest, then you know that it's going to grow faster the sooner you invest it. And that's why I said you want to start soon. And compound interest is the key here. Now let's take a quick look at this investments calculator that does the math of investing and compound interest for you. And this is straight from the US government in case you were worried about the authenticity of it. Now let's use the example of someone who is 22 and fresh out of college. Let's just assume they're 22 or 23 years of age, that they have $10,000 that they can start off with just as an investment, and they can save $500 per month to contribute to their investments, and let's assume 10% return on average and 43 years until retirement, which means at age 65. This doesn't have to be just with a brokerage account, by the way. This could also be your 401k account or your retirement account. So if we hit calculate, we see that in 43 years that they will have over $4 million in retirement. Okay, that's great. So let's actually redo this, but this time with less money. Let's say they start with $1,000 and that they can only contribute $150 per month to their investments. Again, it's 43 years until age 65 that they retire. It's the same 10% average return. If we hit calculate now, well, it looks like they'll still have over $1 million. This is the last scenario to run, but let's assume that this person is a little bit older. So start at age 32, but assuming you've accumulated $50K already in investments, and let's say you can contribute $1,000 a month because you might make a bit more now that you're 10 years later in your career. So now you'll be saving for 33 years until you're 65, the same 10% average return year over year. And if we hit calculate, in 33 years, you'll have almost $4 million. So definitely, I'd recommend that you toggle around with this investments calculator to kind of help you plan out how much money that you're expecting to retire with and how much you'll need to save to get there. So for college and for business school, I focused on a few things. I focused on entrepreneurship, and finance, and data science. And I use probabilities a lot in pretty much any of those focuses. So yes, the answer is that it is really that easy, as in it's not a lot of complicated steps, or it's not uncharted territory where no man or woman has ever gone before. In fact, many people have actually used the same method to build wealth. But also, no, because it's not that easy. It requires discipline and the proper habits. There's going to be times where you feel like using that amount that you are going to invest on something else. Or there's going to be times where you're scared and want to not invest. Or times where you'll want to sell because the stock market is crashing. And in the end, it's not going to be a guarantee of riches because investments always come with a degree of risk. Though some investments are much less risky, such as this versus investing in cryptocurrencies. And my tip there is if you're interested in faster growth, you mostly play with safe investments and allocate some of your funds to more risky investments because, as they say, bigger risk can also generate bigger rewards. Now, I told you guys my story, where I didn't have the best start, I didn't have very much guidance, so I didn't do everything right from the start. Maybe on YouTube, you'll see some of those 18-year-olds who already have $10,000 invested, set up by their parents, or the 22-year-old who already has $100,000. I was pretty much a late bloomer when it comes to finances, but I eventually managed to learn and figure things out on my own. And in my case, because I couldn't turn back time, and I still can't because I don't have that technology, I can't go back to invest more earlier. So I focused on what I can do now, which is saving more and then also increasing my income. So I went to business school, like I mentioned, I got my MBA, worked hard to climb the corporate ladder and increase my earnings. On the side, I also did a variety of different side hustles. I worked on building actual businesses, I dabbled in real estate, and I also participate in more aggressive forms of investments. And in general, I practice a lot of good habits, so I don't spend a ton of money. So I won't lie to you guys, but the roadmap and having that vision is the easy part. But you still need to put in the work to make it all happen because it is really a lot of hard work. Or else everyone would be a millionaire now and walking around with fat loaded wallets. Now, I don't know where you are in life. Maybe you're great at saving money, but you still need to work on earning more money. Maybe you make a ton of money, but you still spend it all and have nothing left over. Whatever it is, you need to identify what your problem is, and then you work on getting better at that. And with that being said, that's about all I have for this video. Leave me some comments. I'd be happy to hear your thoughts. Like it, subscribe, and thank you for watching.